The vet was a good friend of mine who has since passed on, and he was a really that guy loved animals.
He was
man.
the cat whisperer.
He knew how to take care of it. He knew I told him the whole deal coming in, and he knew how to handle it. He's the only vet I've ever had cry with me.
Over what animal?
I had a puppy that had distemper. A friend of mine found these puppies at a gas station. Someone was giving them away. And he took a bunch of them, and he calls me up. He says, hey, man, you want a puppy? They're at the gas station. I said, yeah, man, bring that puppy over here. Man, the puppy just, after like a couple of days of being at the house, would have these seizures, like violent seizures. It would just lie down, its eyes would roll back, and you could just pet it a little bit, and it would slowly come back. Then it would be weak and delirious, and it wouldn't know what would happen. And then towards the end, it was having them all day long. I mean, it was just all day long.
And that's distemper?
Yeah, distemper.
So how does it manifest again?
It's just some horrible neurological disease that dogs get. And if they don't get the right shots when they're young, they can get this, and there's a bunch of different horrible reactions, and it's fatal. So I had to take him to the vet, and the vet was like, there's really nothing we could do with him. He was having seizures all night. I mean, all night. It was awful. And he was like, he's going to die any hour now. We're going to have to put him down. So he puts him down, and he comes out in the hallway. I mean, I held the dog. I placed him down. I gave him a kiss. I said goodbye. And he put the needle in the dog and put the dog to sleep. Then we both went outside, man. He was just crying, just weeping.
This guy was good at the job right there.
He just loved
loved
animals, man. He had a ton of animals, man. He had cats and dogs and all kinds of shit. And he was killed by a drunk driver.
The vet was?
Yeah, it was rough. That was a rough one. I got an email, I believe, from his daughter. It was a rough one.
The
super good dude, man.
Who are you crying more for, the guy or the dog? Because the dude. Well, but you started with the dog though. You started getting teary.
The dog was a bummer, but it was more of a bummer even the way he was approaching it. Just
human. He was approaching it very humanly. Like most doctors, I guess, were expected that they're like, I'm sorry, this person has passed on.
Yeah, he wasn't calloused about it at all. His feelings about it were super raw.
That's what I would imagine I would be as a doctor, just like, I'm so fucking sorry.
That dude scared the fuck out of me with marriage.
In what way?
Because he would talk to me about his divorce. And he just grabbed me. He goes, don't you fucking get married. Don't you ever do it. And he was half joking and half serious. But he's like, trust me. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have to go through this kind of a breakup. He goes, you got a girlfriend right now? You break up with her, what happens? You get broken up. That's it. You break up.
Right.
And he goes, you don't have to see them in court every week for a year over and over again while they're just trying to take money from you and lying about what you've done so they can get more money from you. He went through a bad one, and I believe some of his friends went through real bad ones too. And he was one of those dudes, and I was like, 26, 27. I was like, Jesus, man.
You're like, this is a man of science. Yeah. He's a doctor. He knows what he's talking about.
A wise man who knew a lot of shit. So when I was a moron. So when he grabbed me, he goes, listen, don't fucking get married.
Did you get married?
I got married. He's just, he was just a guy that, I really firmly believe when it comes to things like that, there's these people that are just supposed to be doing what they're doing, right? And he was a guy that was supposed to be working with animals. Like it just worked, man.
He had the heart for it.
He's a veterinarian. He'd probably seen how many animals die, how many animals injured, and still the guy's crying.
Dude, a puppy is a baby dog. Nobody wants to see a baby leave this world without a chance. So the dude's got his heart in the right place. That's the guy you want to bring your animal to.
100%. He's also the first guy that ever told me don't get my dog fixed.
Why?
Well, he said, look, he goes, don't let your dog have babies. Don't be an asshole. He goes, but if you get your dog fixed, you got to realize your dog's not going to have any testosterone anymore. It's going to be tired. It's not going to be the same dog. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And so, of course, I got my dog fixed. And
you just would not fucking listen to this man,
when I got
would you?
him fixed, I was trying to calm him down. He was a pit bull, and he was very aggressive.
Right.
And when it did calm him down, but immediately lost like most of his energy. He just didn't have the same energy anymore. He was kind of like bummed out. It was weird.
The yellow lab that I had, we had two. Like when I first met Jennifer, my wife, she got pregnant like shortly after we met.
Holla.
Yeah, that's how fucking virile I am, my friend. Feral, like a cat. So, you know, we'd never, like, I'd never even owned a dog. So I was like, we should get a dog to see if we'd be good parents. And so we went to the pet store in the Menlo Park Mall in New Jersey and looked for a yellow lab. She had it in her head. She's like, I had a yellow lab when I was a kid, and they're the best dogs for children. So let's go get a yellow lab. I'd never had a dog in my life, so I was like, that sounds great. I knew what they looked like. So we went to the pet shop, tried to find a yellow lab. And we found this dog that was blonde like a yellow lab, and they were marketing it as a yellow lab. But she'd been left behind. All the other puppies had gone, and she'd been there perhaps a little too long. Like, you know, she wasn't a dog yet, but she was fucking on the, you know, what was the Britney Spears song? I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. That's where the dog was. She was too big for the fucking cage.
Right.
Like her face was pressed up against it.
No.
So we were like, what about this dog? And it was been priced down. You could see like 2,000 marked all the way down to like
This is a Disney
600
movie,
bucks.
man.
Truly. So we got that dog, and you never seen, like, it was like something out of a fucking cartoon. Because we were the ones that were like, get out of this cramped ass cage and come with us out into the parking lot. This dog instantly bonded with us, loved us so fucking much, became so needy. We called it Scully. We were big fans of the X-Files. So after a week of having that dog, and the dog was like up in our grill all the time, just like, thank you for fucking getting me out of there. Like, you are my people and shit. We were like, we should get another dog to babysit this dog, so this dog has a friend. So we went, instead of to the pet store, we went to a breeder's kennel, like a pedigree place. And they had puppies versions of fucking yellow labs, and they were adorable, like fucking 10 of them falling all over each other, like an animated, like a Pixar movie. And Jennifer picks up one and bonds with it. She's like, this is the one, let's get this one. I went over to the counter, I was like, all right, man. We just bought a dog the week before, $600. And even then I was like, 600 fucking bucks, man. They throw these things out, you know. We can get one for free and shit. But I was like, I've never paid $600 for a dog. So, you know, I went up to the counter expecting, well, that's the rate, I guess. The going rate for a yellow lab is $600. So I went up to the counter and I was like, we'll take that one. And the lady's like, that'll be $4,000. And I was like, for all of them? I just want one. And she's like, these are pedigree dogs. And I just met Jennifer, barely knew her, so I couldn't turn around and be like, put that down. That's too expensive. I tried to represent. So I was just like, well, $4,000, we're paying too low. We are stealing from you. And we got that dog. And to be fair, we named him Mulder, because again, X-Files fans, Scully and Mulder. And Scully was just like happy heart that just loved. Mulder was so smart and fucking thoughtful. He wrote my 4 best movies. That's why he died. I made Tusk and Yoga Hosers. Like, without that dog writing for me.
How'd he write for you?
It's a joke, Joe. He was feral. He was just saying he was so smart.
Oh.
He was so smart. How smart was he? He's so smart he wrote my last few scripts. Joke didn't quite land. Sorry,
I was missing
folks.
something. I wasn't paying attention.
I didn't set it up properly. I'm not a fucking pro. But in any event, he was wonderful, but we got him clipped, and his demeanor never really changed. He was always very low key. We called him Kilroy because he'd go to the other side of the bed and just look up like this.
Yeah, I got my Mastiff snipped, and it didn't really change his personality much.
He stayed the same.
Yeah, he stayed the same, but he was always kind of a mellow dog.
We got
very big dogs. They don't like to do too much.
We got a rescue last year and a half ago. That was like when Mulder died a couple of years ago. He made it to 15, which is like fucking deep.
That's old in
for
dog
a
years.
for a big dog too.
Yeah.
That's pretty deep. Like a dachshund will stick around, for fucking like cancer, but a fucking big dog like that, generally you don't make it past 10, 11. So we got a lot of good years out of him and stuff. But it was fucking horrible when he died. I spent the last 2 years of Scully's life almost as rehearsal for Mulder. They're yellow labs, so what usually goes first is the hips and the back legs.
Yeah.
So Scully's back legs the rest of her body could work, but she was literally dragging her carcass.
What was wrong with her legs?
They just went. Doctor was like, that just happens. They're done.
Wow.
And she was 12, 13, so she'd made it a while. But
so they just stopped working?
Just stop working, just give out.
So the nerves stop firing, the legs stop?
There's no muscle
and that's
to
a
lift
common
them
thing
out.
with labs?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I put a scarf under the back end of her, called it the magic walking scarf. and I would become the back legs for her. So she would walk and I would be the back legs, and fucking get shit and piss all over you and stuff. But I dug the dog, so it was no big deal. So I did that all the way up to when Scully passed away. And then Mulder was always very healthy and fucking mobile and loved walking and stuff. Super athletic dog. Jen would take him up on Runyon Canyon and shit. Then one day his back legs started dropping, and your fucking heart sinks because you're like, all right, Scully, she wasn't that active. So when she lost her legs, like, yeah, it was a bummer, but she wasn't like the runaround dog. She used to chase Mulder. You'd throw a ball, Mulder would run after her, and she would just chase Mulder and try to bite his back legs to prevent him from doing it because she wasn't nearly as fast. Mulder was the go-out guy. He loved to fucking be active. So when his back legs went, it was like heartbreaking. And then he stuck around for 2 more years. So it was literally 2 years of me magic walking scarfing this dog. Then he got to the place where he did, it wasn't distemper, but when you were talking about it, it sounded so familiar. He would do this thing where he would be like, and this would go on for fucking hours. And you could tell it was exhausting for him, and he couldn't fucking move. So, everyone in the family was like, it's time to let him go. And this was like when he first lost his legs. But I was like, are you fucking shitting me? If I lose my legs, you better fucking put a magic walking scarf around my fat ass and not fucking turn me over to the needle. I was like, this is fucking family here. So I held on to him for as long as I could until he got to that place where he was like in obvious fucking pain. And I remember I shot a video of it on my phone. I still have it. And it's not, it sounds fucking cruel or sick, but like it was just a reminder, because every once in a while, like I knew eventually like we would have to put him down, and like it's such a weird relationship where one day you're like, I love you to death and I love you so much I have to fucking kill you. So I had that video on my phone for the longest time, so that when in like the wee small hours of the morning I would wake up and be like, you killed your best fucking friend, I could watch that video and be like, you had to. He wanted to go. This dog was sick. So the doctor came over. We got the vet to come over to the house. And it was like a big deal. It was like we all knew it was coming and shit. I was flying home from a gig, and I kept telling like Jennifer, like, don't do anything. Just like freeze. Like, I'll be there as quickly as possible. And so like Dr. Kumar, who's our vet, was, scheduled to come over. And that last fucking hour was like probably hands down the most difficult hour of my life, man, because we all knew what was coming. And you're programmed to stop that at all costs. You're programmed to keep people around, keep yourself around. And yet, like, we were just all sitting there loving on him, knowing that, like, by the time Dr. Kumar gets here, it's all done. It was fucking hard, dude. It was the hardest thing in the world to do. And he was still in pain the whole time. So even though you knew you were doing the right thing, it was like I understand why that vet, got emotional. It's tough. So in any event, that we lost that dog a while ago, a couple of years ago. And on my 45th birthday, we were back east doing a show at the Count Basie Theater in Red Bank. We were doing Yoga Hosers, screening it, and we were shooting it for the Comic Book Men show. So I was driving down the highway in Middletown, New Jersey, and I passed the place where we had bought Mulder. And so I was just like, you know what, man? I'm 45 years old. I'm a grown-ass fucking man. Like, I make my own money. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to buy a fucking dog. I'm going to replace that dog. Like, I'm going to get me another yellow lab. And we've had 2 dogs since then, right? We got Louie, which is a chocolate lab, and Checky, who's my favorite, is a little miniature dachshund. But, like, I missed Mulder, and I was like, I'm going to replace him. And then, so I went into the pet store, same place, the Puppies, where we had gotten Mulder. And I walked in, and I didn't see any yellow labs, and there was nobody at the counter. So I was like, all right, I'll get out of here. And a lady comes out, and she's like, can I help you? And I was like, yeah. I was like, well, honestly, I came looking for a yellow lab, but, like, you guys don't have any. She's like, we have one in the back. And so I was like, okay, can I meet him? She said, oh, sit right down. They put you into a little room and stuff like that. And then they bring the dog in. And in my head, I'm like, I'm counting the money out. I'm sure inflation has hit the dog market, so it's going to be more than $4,000, but I'm ready to fucking go. And then they bring in this puppy, and he was good. Like, he was a good dog. He was very bouncy. He's energetic as fuck. You could cut this dog's nuts off, and it wouldn't have mattered. But he wasn't Mulder. He looked exactly like him, but he wasn't him. It was this weird lesson of, like, when it's gone, and you need to appreciate it more when it's there, because you know, they tell you this from a young age, but like everything dies and nothing's fucking replaceable at the end of the day. So as I sat there playing with this dog, I was like, it's not him. It's never going to be him. And I would sit there, raise this dog his whole life, expect him to be something else. Somebody else out there wants this fucking hyper puppy, not me. But I took a picture of it because I was going to fuck with my wife. And so I took a picture of the dog and texted it to her. My wife instantly calls me back to be like, do not buy a fucking dog. You can't do that. I said, I'm a 45-year-old grown-ass man. I can do what I want. She goes, no, we have 2 older dogs at home, and it'd be so unfair to bring a new dog into the house. And she hit me on that level, going like, you know what? You're absolutely right. She's like, you got to wait until one of the other dogs dies, then you could buy a new dog. I said, fair enough. And 2 days later, my wife, right before we go home to Los Angeles, like uncharacteristically, says, there's this dog in my Twitter feed. Look at it. And it looked like this emaciated it looked like the dog from the Sarah McLachlan song. Like in the arms of, just thin ass, like the dog from the Haunted Mansion ride. Dog you see on a fucking can. Just like bones with a dog head on it and shit. And I was like, that's so sad. She's like, they found this dog. He was tied up outside a kill shelter with a rope and was trying to gnaw through the rope. And so these people, they took it home to foster it, but they can't keep it. They already have 6 dogs, so they need a home for this dog. And I'm like, okay. What does that have to do with us? And she was just like, we should be the home. I'm like, what happened to like, we can't get a new dog because it'd be unfair to the other 2 old dogs. She's like, Kevin, look at this dog. So we went over to Lady's house and saw this dog that sounded like the distemper case that you described with the puppy. This dog was fucking dead. 3 paws in the grave. Just weakly looked up at us and fucking weakly went right back down and shit. Looked like hell. Honestly, looked like a skeleton with just a dog head like glued to it. But heartbreaking, you know, and so instantly I'm like, this dog's on death watch. If we bring this dog home, it's going to help these people, you know, so they don't have to take care of yet another dog. But like, this dog's going to die on our watch. This dog ain't going to make it. Look how fucking lethargic it is. When we picked her up, she felt like she was like 12 pounds. And this is a dog that's mixed pit. It's got a pit fucking head, hard as shit and shit. But she was all like emaciated. We took her home. After a week, man, that's when she started like getting alert and shit. And the vet had told me, he goes, I said, what do we do for her? How do we fatten her up? He goes, give her eggs. I said, eggs? He goes, yeah, my eggs good for her. Give her protein. It'll fatten her up. It'll also be good for her coat. It'll bring her hair back. I said, all right. So I started making eggs every morning and shit, scrambled eggs, and I give her the eggs, she'd like suck it up and shit. And then I was like, these eggs are so plain. So I started putting like bacon in them and cheese, started making omelets for the dog and whatnot. Dog got fucking fat quick, healthy. All the fur came back. Took the dog into the vet, and the doctor was just like, what the fuck happened to this dog? This dog's like 90 pounds. I was like, you said to give her eggs. I've been giving her omelets every morning. He goes, I didn't say to cook the eggs. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you just break an egg and put it in a bowl. It's a fucking dog. They just eat it. Like, you made it eggs? I was like, yeah. Got in a fight with my wife many times because she was like, you never made me an omelet. And I was like, well, the dog is dying here. So that dog, we nursed it back to health. We named it Mad Marty. And she, since we don't know her history, like we figure she's 6 years old, the doctor guessed. She's clearly a street dog, and she lives in her head, I guess, the same way that cat you described did. Everything was fucking terrifying. It took a long time for her to fucking trust. And she loves my fucking wife. Like, she must understand that, like, she was the one that fucking got her into this house and shit. So when other people come into the room, she goes fucking nuts. Because she's very fucking protective of the wife and shit like that. She could flip fast. And recently we had an incident in the house because she doesn't get along with the 2 other dogs. So we have to put up all these, like, what we call checkpoint Charlies in the house, these series of dog gates so the dogs could never.
Do you have other female dogs?
They're all female, 3 females.
I've had problems with that in the past. Females they don't give up the alpha position. Like, males will give up. Like, if you have a couple males, they'll figure out who's the boss, and the boss will run the house. Like, I have 2 males.
Right.
And one of them is 120 pounds. He's a Mastiff. And the other one is a Shiba Inu English Bulldog mix. They have a very clear, you know, one is way bigger.
Right.
So there's no issues. So who's the boss? The one's the boss. But females, they don't give up on that. They
so
keep
it's just
fighting.
like, I'm the alpha.
They keep going after each other. It's really common.
It's
really common with females, especially if you leave them alone for any length of time. They fuck each other up, man.
It happened, not on my watch, thank God. It happened while
Happened
I
a
was
bunch of times with
away.
me.
Did it? It
Yeah,
happened?
yeah. I used to have 2 females. It was terrible, terrible.
Ours happened when I was away. I was just doing a show 2-3 weeks ago. I was in Vancouver. I did a few Canadian shows, and that night my kid called me and she was like, "Marty and Shecky got into a fight." And I was like, "What?" And Shecky is literally, she's not even a dachshund. She's a miniature dachshund, and Marty is the size of a pit bull and mixed pit. So they've seen each other. They walk with each other. We walk them in the hills. They'll walk side by side and shit. But the moment you get in that house, it
Because they're
becomes
fighting
territorial.
for love.
Why?
You know? Because they want your love. Like, your love feels so good. Like, if you come over and massage them and another dog comes by, you might stop massaging them and start massaging that other dog. So they'll attack that dog. I'm not kidding.
That's what goes on in a dog's head?
100%. Yeah, especially dogs that have been mistreated.
So they're just
dog that had
jealous.
Yes. My dog that had an issue with this was also a dog that I got from the pound. I got a couple from the pound. I got one from the street. She was covered in mange, and I nursed her back to health in a similar story. She was 2 years old. She had
make her
extended
eggs?
nipples, so she had puppies.
Wait. This dog has also, what did you call it?
Yeah.
Distended or extended?
Yeah, extended. I said I might have the wrong
But the
terminology.
vet said, like, that doesn't necessarily mean, like, in Marty's case, he was like, I was like, does she have puppies? Because it looked like she had nipples. But he was like, no, it also, some cases, it happens with dogs that are emaciated. But I can't imagine a street
maybe.
dog didn't get laid. You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
don't know. I mean, the vet said she had puppies. I don't know. I don't know why he determined that. I think he had said because of the nipples, as they were hanging low like
That's
that.
what I always thought.
Yeah.
My vet was like, no.
But the 2 females, like, the male got along great with both dogs. He had no problems with them. But those females, man, they would fight all the fucking time. And they would fight whenever when someone would come over to get pet. Like, they got in a big fight once because the pool guy came over. And the pool guy was like, "Hey, what's up, kids?" And he pet one of the dogs and didn't pet the other one. And so they started going after each other, like, "Fuck you, no, fuck you." And, you know, I get this call, "Hey, man, your dogs are about to fuck each other up over the pool guy." And I'm like, oh, my God.
You're like, first off,
it's just
fire the fucking
girls.
pool guy.
So I had to keep the girls separate.
We were keeping them separate with Gates, but you know, fucking somebody turned it back and fucking the 2 wound up in the same space and fucking went at it. And so one dog's way bigger than the other. And so the big dog picked the little dog up by her hind quarters.
Ouch.
And was like, shaking it like a dog shakes a toy. But meanwhile, Shecky, who's the little one, she has no Napoleon complex, so she's got no idea of, like, you're bigger than me. She doesn't give a fuck. So as Marty is swinging Shecky, the little dog is swinging from side to side, biting her, and then swinging to the other side and biting her. She wouldn't go down, dude. Like, I imagine if somebody bit me in the ass and shook me from side to side, I'd be like, you win. But this dog was just like, from fucking hell's heart, I stab at thee. She kept trying to go right back at her. So when I came home, it was fucking heartbreaking because I'd heard they got in a fight, and my daughter was like, she's got stitches and stuff. So I was prepared for stitches. But when I got home, it was like it looked fucking terrible. Like she looked like the fucking walrus from Tusk, like a Frankenstein version of her leg.
And how was the other dog?
She had pieces of her, like, missing chunks out of her fur.
Was she acting sketchy? And
She was like, she knew she got in trouble because Jennifer, like, put her into what we call chickens' prisons, the other side of the gate where you lure the dogs in with chicken and then you're locked in the bathroom. You can still see everybody else, but there's a gate keeping you on that side of the room. So she went to jail for that. And you could tell she felt fucking bad about it. But does it linger? Like, you seem to know more about dogs. That little dog's always going to remember that fight, right?
Oh, they're both going to remember it. Yeah, if you leave them alone, they're going to do it again. They're girls. If you brought home an extra wife, how do you think that would work out? That's exactly how it's like with dogs.
How do you know that? Who told you that?
Dr. Craig, my friend
the
who
vet
died.
who died?
Yeah. He just said you can't have 2 girls. He goes, they're gonna go at it. He goes, more often than not. He goes, like, you leave them alone, you have a nice big yard, doesn't matter. He goes, they're gonna fight. I want to sit there. Why are you sitting there? That's my spot. That's my spot.
And boy dogs won't do that to each other?
Boy dogs can
fight
do
over
that.
other shit.
They can do that. They can fight. But boy dogs, if the alpha, this is according to dog people,
Right.
not me. I don't really know what I'm talking about. But the way it's been explained to me is that boy dogs, for the most part, with a few exceptions, will pick an alpha. Alpha will lead the pack. Then unless he's challenged by a new dog, or one of the dogs gets bigger or something happens, or he gets older, unless there's some sort of a shifting of the chain of command, he will remain the alpha.
Forever.
He's the alpha. He's the big dog.
See, I didn't know this about the alpha shit. And with Scully, I was, again, a new dog owner, right? So I would go to let Scully and Mulder out, and Scully would barge through the door.
Right, he's the alpha.
First, she was a girl.
She's the alpha.
So what I would, and I didn't know this until later in her life. What I would get like fucking shitty about it. Like, hey man, like him first. And so I'd hold her back and let him out. And the betrayal on her face and the confusion on Mulder's face of like, bro, no, bro, let her go, bro.
Isn't it funny how we attach these human characteristics to animals? We decide that we're going to stop bullying amongst the, the
like,
dogs.
I know the order of things. You should go first.
I mean, bullying in grade school, bad. Bullying in dogs, you ain't going to do shit about it. You just better let that go. Just don't let them fight with each other. But my two older dogs, they are the only ones that have issues. Marshall's the younger dog. He runs circles around everybody. But when I open the door to feed them, the big one comes in first every time. And if the little one's too close to the door, he'll fucking sideswipe. Nah, bitch, I'm eating first.
That's what Scully would do.
Clear rules. But I let them do it. They don't fight with each other. You know, they're cool with everything. But this is just the leadership that they've established.
And it's one of those things that like hit me in the wrong way because I'm not an animal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, they've obviously got a system down. They've worked it out. Everything's fucking cool.
Well, my friend Whitney Cummings knows way more about dogs and animals than I do. She actually has like a horse that she raises that's like a rescue horse. She rides it with no saddle, and she has a bunch of dogs. And
rescue horse? Somebody like got rid of a horse?
Well, it's a horse. I think, you know, if they use them for movies and stunt horses and stuff like that, they don't have one person who owns them. Some horses get abandoned, and she rescued this one horse. So very similar to what happens with dogs.
Someone abandons a horse?
Yep. Horses get abused. In fact, I was talking to Kat Zingano the other day, too, who's one of the top UFC women bantamweight fighters. And she was talking about equine therapy too, that she's worked with horses and takes care of horses, and there's something about a human bond with a horse. You're petting a horse and riding a horse and feeding a horse. There's like a very good love bond that people develop with horses. But anyway, Whitney knows a shitload about animals, is my point. And when I talked to her about her dogs, she goes, well, I'm the boss. She goes, I don't walk around them, I walk through them. They're out of my fucking way. Like we have a real clear, like there's a power structure in the house. Whitney's the top boss, and then all the dogs have to just deal with her. So she's pushes them out of the way. 100%. She pushes them out of the way. She decides when they eat. She makes them sleep in pens. Like she.
Oh, really?
She gives them rules. Yeah,
there's a lot of structure.
It's pretty gangster.
Yeah,
she's an intense
I would
woman.
not want to be mothered in that way. Like you
the thing is,
back in your corner, bitch.
They're dogs. She's like, they're not people. And we attach these human characteristics and needs to them, and that's not what they want. What they want is order, and they want they want love and a lot of affection, and they want exercise and all those other great things and good food, but they also want order. And her order is she's the fucking boss. She's the boss in the house.
I guess that makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
She's read a shitload of books on it. I've read a couple books like way back in the day on dogs. I read some books on dogs, but I don't know enough.
All my information is specious picked up from fucking vets and also probably a lot of theories that I stitched together myself.
Sure, me too.
I project onto the animals fucking crazy. Do you give your dogs voices and shit like that?
Voices?
Yeah, like do you do the dog's life for your wife and stuff? Like I'm always like...
No.
You don't?
I do sometimes for Marshall because he's so silly. Because he's such a silly dog.
So you'll be like, oh, you're a silly dog.
What am I going to do?
There you go.
What am I going to do?
Fucking my voice for Shecky is... Shecky, in my world, the little dachshund calls me the man. She doesn't know my name. She just knows me as the man. She knows my wife as that lady. So she's always like, the man is home. Oh, I love the man. He's full of pets and food. Because I wonder how they view me. Do they view me as an alpha? Because I'm the guy that's like, I'll take you out for a walk. I'm going to give you fucking food.
Well, your voice is deeper. You're larger. And you would be the most intimidating if you had to fight to the death.
But they don't see me like that because they've never even seen me be mad.
But I'm always like, I love you. They hear your voice. You have a deep voice.
They've heard me like fight with my wife, and they're like, I don't want to get into shit with him.
If you guys are arguing, yelling at each other, for sure. But the fact that you have a deep voice, I mean, it shows you're male.
That's enough for them to not. Yeah, but all right. But let's say like Shecky, I've had for 13 years. Over 13 years, this little dog knows like I've got him wrapped around my finger. I can make the man do anything I want.
The way you talk and the way you look. Yeah. If a guy the size of LeBron James was right next to you with his fucking crazy deep voice and super powerful body, and he talked to that dog would listen to him.
Oh,
the
really?
dog would be like, "Oh, that's the boss." That's
You'd be
definitely
like,
the fucking
finally, a
boss.
real man's
yeah,
voice.
Well, there's just 100%, no doubt about it. That's a way bigger organism than that dog.
Right.
And it's talking with this deep voice, and it has confidence. Like, "Yep, whatever you need. I'm just gonna lay down right here." And but if you were like some little, what's that fella? Like, give me a small person's name.
Hervé Villechaize? Deplain?
No. I meant like very thin.
Wispy?
Tony.
Tony Hinchcliffe. Well, Tony Hinchcliffe's when Tony Hinchcliffe was 20, let's say that, and he tried to, talk to the same dog in the same room. The dog would be like dismissive, like, I'm used to LeBron James give me directions.
You call that a voice?
Kill you.
You call that timber?
I might be able to eat you.
Yeah.
So I think like with Whitney's case, she doesn't leave any room for any gray area. She just runs the roost. But she's super affectionate with her dog. So all these pictures on Instagram of her cuddling with her dog. She clearly loves dogs. But she's
Until
like
it's cage
to the
time.
book.
Then she's like,
how to take care
get
of
in your
them.
fucking cage.
Some people sleep with their dogs and shit, which is cool, but the dogs are farting in your face and stuff. You're trying to sleep and they're snoring. Like, you're losing sleep for a dog. Man, I don't know about all that. I don't know if that's the move.
Bro, you literally cried about a puppy before.
I know, but
and now you're
in
going to
the
tell
bed
me,
with
like,
you?
I draw the line at dog farts. I don't care how fucking cute
You could
they
have
are.
your own bed, dude. It's over there. You go over there. I'm in here. No, let me come in bed with you. They take their dog shit smeared paws and rub your sheets with them and touch your pillowcase. They
That's
don't
part of
wash
the
their
deal.
feet.
That's part of the deal.
Well, that's why they don't sleep in the bed, man. This is ridiculous.
I
That's how
let
you
the
get
little one
fleas.
sleep in the bed with us.
My dog
But
had
she got very
fleas.
short hair, too.
When
so
I was
no
in high
fleas.
school, my dog had fleas real bad, and I had fleas in my carpet. It was fucking rough, man. I would go through the house, and I would find fleas on my calves. Like in the walk on my carpet from my bed to the bathroom in the hallway, I would have fleas on my leg.
When I lived with my parents in New Jersey at 21 Jackson Street, we were cat people.
You trying to outflea me, motherfucker? Is
I
that
am.
what you're
Here it
doing?
comes. Watch this. I am about to pull out my flea dick and throw it on the table against your own flea dick.